Well, I have some questions for you, or perhaps a single question. When was the last time you read something on the internet and you instantly believed it without questioning its ideological inclination, without questioning its propaganda, so on and so forth? Do you remember that? Well, I don't think so because you're not the problem here. Well, let's start with some uncomfortable truths that we all have to address. Number one, India ranks 151st out of 180 in the World Press Freedom Index, which talks about free press in the country. On the contrary, we are the largest democracy in the world. Second, India has the highest number of internet shutdowns as of 2022, whereas, on the contrary, India has the second highest number of internet users in the world after China. As of 2019, there are about 900 private satellite TV channels and about 1,400 TV broadcast stations. And as of 2018, we have recorded 1 lakh registered publications in the country, and we have the second largest newspaper market with over 240 million copies spread every single day. So what does this all mean? This means that you are not paying for the news. It's the government that's paying for the news, or it's the corporate that's paying for the news. And that means you are not the consumer. You are the product. So let's go back in history. Let's rewind a little bit. Do you recognize these newspapers that you see on your screen? One, the newspaper Kesari that was launched in Marathi language, Amrit Bazar Patrika, launched by Sisir Kumar Ghosh, and Young India, launched by Mahatma Gandhi. Kesari was launched by Bal Gangadhar Tilak, also known as the Lokmanya Tilak. What is the vitality of these newspapers, and why am I talking about it? Because these newspapers shook the foundations of the British Empire in India. They spoke about the truth. They spoke about what's happening in the country and why colonialism is a problem. More importantly, they educated the Indian audience. And that is why press played a very important role in our freedom struggle. Then we received independence. We established channels that were controlled by the government, for example, DD, All India Radio, and with the advent of liberalization, personalization, and globalization, private channels came up, and media did not remain media anymore. Well, do you watch TV news every day? Because according to the Lokniti CSDS study, TV news is the least trusted medium among the people. And on the contrary, YouTube news consumption has gone up by 70% in the last 3 years. WhatsApp forwards alone reach over 487 million users every day today. They are officially or unofficially the largest news distributors in the country. On the other hand, the Indian media industry today is valued at 2.3 lakh crore, roughly about $27 billion, but less than 10% of this whole volume that you're talking about comes from subscriptions. You and I are not paying for news, and over 80% still comes from ads, sponsors, and political spending. That means with the growth of media industry, journalism has remained somewhere. So what does this mean? This means you and I have stopped asking questions. You and I have gone from freedom fighters to corporate approvals and algorithm chasers with ring lights. So along this way, one thing we have stopped doing, we have stopped asking who owns this narrative? Who is feeding this narrative to us? That brings me to my next point, where everybody is, this become a talking point for everybody, media entrepreneurship. Everybody thinks that it's a cool thing to have a media entrepreneurship setup where you start a platform, you explore the truth, you go viral, you win awards, and you change the world. Well, being a media entrepreneur myself, this is not the truth, because everyone is happy, everyone is okay with receiving news online unless you're asked to pay 99 rupees for that particular subscription. I've seen some brilliant platforms build and die over a span of 3 to 4 years, not because they don't have talent. It's because they don't have funding, and truth and honest journalism is not a business model in today's date. And unless you are ready to sell fairness ads and political ads in your journalism, you will not be funded. You will not be able to survive. So rewinding back to 2019, when I started News Hamster, I went against all the rules of economics and business, and we didn't have a legacy newsroom, we didn't have a legacy reporters. I myself was not a very big name, and We didn't even have investors, we didn't even have office chairs, but we had one question in mind, that what if news stops chasing virality and news starts chasing the truth? So we started covering the truth. We started covering stories of rural voices, small stories, Dalit voices, forgotten stories, and that became something bigger, something better. And as time progressed, the team got bigger, the production got bigger, and everything became more streamlined. Like we have a very famous shairi in Urdu that says, "मैं अकेला ही चला था, जानिबे मंजिल मगर, लोग आते गए, कारवां बनता गया." So if you look at on your screen, this is how we started off. Absolutely no production value, absolutely no thought, absolutely very, very less investment. And with this, we picked up and we reached here, where we understood what exactly the audience needs. And the audience was receptive to all the changes we brought in terms of content quality, in terms of covering the news, and in terms of reporting structure. So you must be thinking, what do we do on a daily basis? Well, we fight. We fight to get reach, we fight against algorithms, we fight that the readers don't get bored of our content, and we fight that our account balance doesn't die. We explain sponsors as to why this can't be an ad but a press release. We talk about how this has to be conveyed and how it has to be conveyed, and we spend days and nights fixing our design, fixing our content, fixing our website, and all without a powered by written in the bottom. That is why we are special. And no matter what happens, if you look at things happening around you, I still am hopeful. I'm still looking at the fact that there is still hope. Why? Because the biggest movements, biggest changes, biggest revolutions that have happened in the recent past have not happened in the newsroom. They started in a bedroom, on your bed, typing out a tweet. The Me Too movement, the climate change movement, everything was a small idea, but the person decided to speak about it, the person decided to be honest about it, and that is where I am hopeful. So the question is, who exactly is a journalist in today's date? And before we move to that, we have to understand that if everybody starts talking about everything, that becomes a bigger problem, because there are so many voices out there creating so much noise, and that becomes misinformation. And misinformation has to be studied carefully, because if you believe everything that you hear, you will believe misinformation, you will believe fake news, you will believe everything that's out there. And that is why media literacy is no longer a luxury, ladies and gentlemen. Media literacy is a survival skill. For you to pick up what is right, for you to understand what is wrong, and for you to believe what is right. So one point I want to make it clear today, that influencers are not journalists, and reels are not reports. These are two different things. So you must be wondering, why is this topic even here? Because influencers are talking about daily happenings, that they are reporting news faster, they're reporting news better, they're putting creative thumbnails, they're putting creative taglines. But is this journalism? No, this is certainly not journalism, because journalism is not about speed. Then what is journalism about? It's about rigor. It's about accountability. It's about ethics. Because when we, as journalists, get a story, we don't just pick up the story and hit publish. We verify, we cross-check, we read it. And as a journalist, when somebody says it's raining outside, it's my responsibility to put my head out the window and check if it's raining or sunny, verify it myself, and then report it. So journalism is about the 4 W's and 1 H, and those things keep us grounded. So let's have one thing clear: emotion is not equal to evidence. So if an influencer is reporting some topic with emotions, that's not evidence. That's not journalism. And let's be very clear about it. So journalism is not a viral content. It's public service. So it needs to be treated with respect. Journalists have to be given the right kind of space in the society. They have to be treated with respect, and not because everyone with a ring light has a newsroom. Right? And if we follow this, we'll wake up one day with ring lights and journalists and influencers talking about content and news, and not actual journalists doing their job. So let me just tell you that it is very, very important for the audience to be informed today. And what does it take to be informed? It's about being awake. It's about keeping your eyes and ears open. It's about questioning everything that you see and not taking things at face value. It's about thinking before taking a screenshot and putting it on a group that you have created this news or you have created this piece of information for the world. It means simple checking the source before you share with everybody, before you create a buzz about it in all the places. So being informed is absolutely important, and that's where News Hamster comes in, because for us, it's not about just journalism, it's about being honest to our profession. It's about creating a place in this chaos where there is loud, dirty, and chaotic media ecosystem, that still there is a space that is serving truth to the people. And if you are still wondering what we do, you can look us up. We are still there. We are fighting. We are asking questions, and we are not ready to give up, because in the end, media depends on its citizens. So the citizens we make the media that is out there. So the choice for you is always clear, that you must be informed, not influenced. So that is my talk, and that has been my time. I'm Mohammad Saqlain Jameel, and I'm a journalist, I'm a marketer, and most importantly, I'm a storyteller. Thank you so much. That was my time.